Madeline. We're so glad you're here.
Yeah, thanks, Madeline. Hey, everyone. MAPS coach Emily Baker. Super excited for Sarah to bring the top 3 buyer objection handlers for today's market. And yet, before we do that, we have an exciting announcement. We are releasing a new fast track program, Role Play Rumble, because how many of you out there are getting a ton of objections? Put it in the chat. If you're getting objections, whether it's lead objections or objections when you're meeting with clients, have they increased for you? I see you shaking your head. Yeah, Stacy is. Anyone else? Vanna is. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're not alone in that. So in a skill-based market, we need a place to practice, right? Our skill set, our conversion has to elevate. So Megan, tell us a little bit first about what role play is, and then we'll give it away to Sarah.
Yeah, role play is the place where we can come learn how to dance on the dance floor such that our partner could show up with any crazy moves and we still get to the end result, which in our case is usually either an appointment or a signed agreement, right? So Role Play Rumble is the place where we can come learn that skill set, practice that skill set, make sure that our clients aren't our first pancake, that we have some partners to be those first pancakes for us, and really refine that ability to convert.
That's exactly right. So we're super excited. It's a subscription based. It's $99 per month. The other great thing is Anna Kruger's not here with us. She is traveling in South Africa, and yet Anna's leading the lead conversion. So for those of you who know Anna, know that she is a lead generation, lead conversion master. So she is leading that group. Megan Henry is an ops boss master, and she is leading the operation. So if your goal is to increase your reviews, referrals, get events to equate a return on investment, those of you who have operations people, this is for you. And then I'm leading the sellers and Sarah is leading the buyers. Sarah, how many buyers have you serviced over your career?
Oh my gosh. Well, I lost count a long time ago. Yet in terms of buyers served, buyer agents and the agents or the buyers they've served, it's thousands, right? Coming from a big team environment as a MAPS coach now, it's thousands of buyers, thousands.
Yeah. So you know a little bit about the objections that we're going to cover. So let's dive in.
You know what's funny too is the objections rarely ever change, right? They flutter with the market. And Megan, I loved your pancake analogy because the first pancake's always the worst one, right? But this is what's so fun to me. And Emily, I love that you talked about really no matter what's happening in the market, we are always in a skill-based market as agents, right? It could be a buyer's market, a seller's market, but for us, it's always a skill-based market. And the priority that agents really, need to put into sharpening their skill set through role play, this is the perfect program for that, which makes me even more excited. But guys, how many of you have heard a buyer in the last 30 days object to buying right now because of something about interest rates? You can type it in the chat or show of hands. And friends, while you're out there, join us on camera if you can. If you can't already tell, this is going to be a very interactive program for those of you who choose to join. And we want this to be interactive as well. Hi, Penny, you look great today. Thank you for coming on camera. So in the last just 30 days, right, how many of you have had a buyer object to interest rates? And I'm seeing some things in the chat. Let me open up the chat box. Those are most of conversations lately. Interest rates are too high. Vanna said yes. So guys, we're not alone, okay? And we're going to go into a quick role play on one way that we can navigate this interest rate objection. And I'd love for somebody to volunteer to be the buyer in this role play scenario before I voluntold you. So who would like to come off mute and role play with me? We're all here to learn and grow together. Yes or yes? Yes. We're going to make better pancakes. This is just the very first pancake. So who wants to come off mute and be the buyer in this role play with me? Vanna, awesome. Thank you for volunteering. Okay, Vanna, you can be any buyer that you want to be. And I thought for a minute you were on some fancy boat, but it looks like you're also have a virtual background. But if you're on a boat, that's great too.
No, virtual background.
Okay, well, we can dream big about the vacation that we're all going to take soon, right? All right, so Vanna, I hear you saying that you're hesitant to buy right now because of interest rates. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, well, I really appreciate you sharing that with me. And if you don't mind me asking, other than interest rates, what else is holding you back from being a homeowner this year?
Well, it's the monthly payment because of the interest rates.
Okay, so it sounds to me like what I'm hearing is that the fluctuation in interest rates and where interest rates are right now has you thinking a certain way about your monthly payment.
Yes.
Okay, can you tell me more about that?
Well, with rising interest rates, I can't afford as much house as I could have about a year and a half, 2 years ago. So my payments would be more. And when I look in lower price ranges, those homes just need too much work. There's still not enough inventory on the market.
Yeah, a lot of things happening in the market right now, right? But what I heard you say though is that it sounds like really the interest rates are impacting maybe some of your affordability. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Anything else about that's important about that monthly payment that I need to know?
It has to be within my budget.
Sure. I mean, I think we can all agree we like saving money when we need to, right?
Mhm.
I appreciate that you're a budget conscious buyer. So let me ask you this. If the monthly payment truly is what's most important right now, if we could find a way for us to stay within a monthly payment and find a house that made the most sense for you, would you still be a buyer in this market?
Sure.
Okay, so let's talk about that. And guys, I'm going to break role play here for several reasons because I was going through an objection handling language pattern and I could probably take this in 1,000 different ways and we only have 30 minutes. But this is what we do in Role Play Rumble. We have 2 more scenarios to dive into here. And what I got Vanna to buy into hearing more about how we can be a solution for her and find an option that helps keep her within her monthly budget where really, guys, the interest rate wasn't the objection, it was her monthly payment. And I wanted to stop there to make sure that that's what you guys heard in just that very, very short role play, right? Because it's so easy for us as agents to go, well, interest rates are higher than they were 2 years ago, but they're lower than they were in 1988. That's not the information that the consumer wants right now. Okay. Now, Emily, Megan, other great coaches on here, I want to hear what your takeaways were from just that quick role play segment, because I know we've got 2 more to jump into. And Vanna, thank you for volunteering.
I heard you
almost-
isolate.
Oh, go ahead, Emily.
Oh, sorry. I heard you isolate. You isolated the objection to get clear on what the actual problem was. Interest rates is the smoke. Her finding the affordable month-to-month payment based on what she was looking for was the actual root. It's the fire, if you will. And that's what so many clients, that was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what we learn, right? In Role Play Rumble, we isolate the objection. We learn it in bold, we learn it in Role Play Rumble, and we put it into real play in Role Play Rumble, which guys, I'm getting goosebumps. I'm so excited about this. And I'm not joking. Okay. And it's hot in Texas today. So to get goosebumps is a big deal. Megan, what about you? What did you hear?
I heard that in just a few minutes, you did not fumble the ball on what is a very common objection that could really make us stumble in this market, right? But you didn't fumble it at all. It just took you less than 2 minutes to get her to her actual objection, which was the monthly payment. And then you now know how to handle it. So that was so well done because it was fast. I mean, less than 2 minutes, y'all. She really handled that smoothly.
And that's the piece we need, right, Megan, is what's the real issue here? People say interest rates because they think that's what they have to say. That's what they're hearing in the media. Oh, it's got to be interest rates. But if it's the monthly payment, I can work with that. Right? So awesome. So again, 30 minutes flies by, my friends. And I am notorious, Madeline will tell you, for going right to the half hour. Okay. So let's move on to the next one, because the next one's a fun objection that we're getting a lot right now too. How many of you have had a buyer recently, or I mean, not even recently, just ever in your history of real estate, when you're out looking at a house, they go, gosh, you know what, Sarah, we really like this house, but ... Anyone ever heard a buyer say that? We like this house, but there's always a but. Goodness gracious. Okay. So let's role play that. Who wants to volunteer and be my buyer? Don't be shy. We're friendly people. Anybody? I can't role play by myself, guys. That's why this program's so great, because it's people who are invested. Vanna, you're my girl. All right, Vanna. So go ahead and say the line on the screen for me, okay? Like, let's pretend we just finished showing a house and oh my gosh, we're at that magnificent house that's at 123 Main Street. Okay, go ahead.
We like the home, but the backyard is just too small. We have 2 large dogs.
Oh my goodness, yes, Vanna. You know what? I'm so glad to hear that you like this home. Vanna, right? She's so great. but I heard you say the backyard might be too small. Okay, so can you tell me more about the size of the backyard? Like what makes it too small for your two dogs?
Well, it's about 8 steps to the fence.
Mhm.
It's long and narrow and it's on a slope. So we want a bigger backyard,
Okay.
like 3 times that size.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, and I appreciate you telling me that. Other than the size of the backyard, is there any other reason that you would not make an offer on this house today?
The master ensuite is dated and it really needs some work. Probably would take a good 20-30,000 depending on finishes and what we replaced to get that updated.
Yeah, yeah. And I appreciate you pointing that out. We did kind of mention that when we were walking through the house, right?
Right.
So we've got the size of the backyard. You also mentioned some cosmetic stuff, if I could,
Mhm.
just bucket that together in the primary bathroom. Any other reason though, other than those two things, Vanna, that this would not be the house for you?
Nothing else. Everything else about the house is great.
Okay. All right. Well, and I'm so glad that you told me that because I just always appreciate your feedback. Now, Vanna, you might remember when we met a few weeks ago for our buyer's consultation, I had you list out really those 5 things that you absolutely must have non-negotiable inside your next home, right? And we talked about the location. This is a great neighborhood, right? This
Right.
is your top neighborhoods, as a matter
Right.
of fact. We talked about the neighborhood. We talked about pricing. And I think we can agree that this house is well within your budget, right?
Correct.
We talked about you needing 4 bedrooms and
Yes.
3 bathrooms.
Mm,
Okay. And then we talked about you also needing that open concept kitchen. And those are the 5 things that really you said were you absolutely had to have inside your next home.
exactly.
And if I'm looking around, this house has those 5 things, doesn't it?
It does.
Okay. So if this house has what you have to have, and we agreed that all those other things might be something you could compromise on, talk me through a bit more about what makes this house not the right house for you.
The backyard. So it is one of the smallest backyards in this neighborhood, unfortunately.
Sure, sure, sure.
So I think we can get past the ensuite
Okay.
because I think that we could deal with that later. I'm not as worried about that, but I think the backyard it's
Okay.
pretty close to a deal breaker.
Sure. So if I'm hearing you say that, then let me ask you this question. Which of those 5 must-have criterias are we going to swap the backyard size for? Are we willing to compromise on the location, the price, the 4 bedrooms, the 3 bathrooms, or the open concept kitchen moving forward? Because that was the fun game we played, was we can only have five must-haves on our list. So which one are we going to swap?
The open concept, I could compromise on that.
Okay. So guys, I'm going to break the role play here because Vanna, you're a tough cookie.
I'm
You're
trying to be.
you're good at this. I was
I
waiting for
want
you
to
to say
I
yes
want
or
to
no.
learn. I
My
want to
goodness.
learn. These are objections I'm having. I want to
No,
learn.
but this is great. So here's the fun part though, is well, I guess before I just give my spiel, tell me what you guys heard. Vanna, what did you hear?
Well, you just kept it right in those must-haves and brought it right back into out of your 5 must-haves. What can you give up on?
Yeah, what can I compromise on?
Right.
Absolutely, because you guys, again, Anna Kruger's a great friend of ours, co-coach for Role Play Rumble. You probably heard her on stage at Mega Agent Camp talking about how we're not going to win every single day, but we've got to gain yardage. And a conversation like that, even though maybe I wasn't writing an offer, I felt like I gained yardage. We would have changed what we were looking for based on that conversation because we gained yardage. And I would
Right.
not have taken you to another home with a small backyard because of that conversation.
Exactly.
Right. So Megan,
Yeah.
Emily, what did you hear?
I'm off mute. Yes, I love that you had the list. So I imagine as you guys are working through this with Sarah, like maybe you've got a whole packet of scripts that you're working on Role Play Rumble, right? But as you had that list, you could point back to like, hey, what are the 5? That was so well handled, and it didn't feel awkward at all. It was like, well, yeah, sure, okay, for one of these things, I'm gonna have to swap something out in order to get the house I want. It felt very much like you were my guide, and not like it was not like you were taking something away from me, but like you were on my side too.
Oh, I love that.
I agree. You acknowledged what I wanted. So
Well,
that was really good.
yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it just goes back to those 5 things of, you train agents all the time how to have effective and efficient buyer consultations. And how many of us as agents who work with buyers are actually isolating what the top 5 deal breakers are
Yeah.
up front. And
You
that's what I heard was how many of us on the call actually isolate the top 5? Because typically we laundry list what they're looking for and we put them on a search on the MLS and we wait for something to pop up.
Yeah. And then how long do we wait? 6 months, a year, who knows?
Yep.
And our ultimate goal as agents, friends, is never to make somebody make a decision they don't want to make. I think Gary even said this on stage at Mega Agent Camp multiple times. We're here to help them facilitate decisions. That's all it is. And guys, I think we can all agree, especially with buyers, it's okay if their criteria changes as we go through the home search process. It's all about discovery. I think that's the important pivot, is if something does change for them, we just make sure, like, we decide at that from that moment moving forward, we're no longer going to worry about the open concept kitchen. We're only going, yard size and those 4 other things, which means you might have a closed off kitchen, but if you get the yard in that conversation, that was what was a priority in that moment. And sometimes that happens in the discovery phase, right? That's totally fine. Okay. Okay. Wow. Time is flying by, friends. We've got one more we're gonna go through, and we might make this one short to leave time for some Q&A. This one, my heavens, is just my favorite. Oh, we're not going to make a decision until we just see everything we can possibly see. In some markets right now, the market does the heavy lifting because there aren't that many options, right? So how many of you have heard this objection in your opportunity in working with buyers? Oh, we can't make a decision yet. We haven't seen them all. Now, Vanna, I don't know if you're just going to be my golden child here on these calls, but you're the first person on my screen too. So you want to give it another go?
Sure.
Somebody give Vanna a gold star, please.
That would be great.
All right, Vanna. So I hear what you're saying, and what I'm hearing is that we're not ready to make a decision yet because we want to see everything that's on the market. Is that right?
Right. We don't want to miss our house. Like you have a feeling when you walk in, this is it. We don't want to miss that perfect house.
Oh, sure. And I tell you what, buying a house, you should have some kind of emotional reaction. It's a big deal. It is a big deal, right? We got to feel something when we walk in the door. So, Vanna, and I always appreciate your feedback. I remember telling you how important your feedback is to me when we decided to, get into business together. And I do have a question for you, because when we met a few weeks ago for our buyer's consultation, and we'd agreed to get out together and see the top 5 houses. There's the gold star, Richard. Thank you. We agreed to see the top 5 houses that are on the market right now within those 5 must-have criteria for you, right? And we saw all 5 of them. And I told you, we always see the best houses first. Okay. And I think you would agree, Vanna, we saw some pretty great houses.
We did.
Yeah, we did. So can you help me better understand, what are you still looking for that maybe we haven't seen yet?
When you look online at photos,
Mm-hmm.
even though it's got your everything you want, you really don't know what the floor plan is, and you don't know what it feels like in the neighborhood when you look across the street and down the street. Like just the feeling of the area and how the house feels inside and how it flows.
Yeah. You guys think Vanna's a high S or what? She is feeling all the place. This is so great. No, I love this. Yes, sorry to break role play, but yes, I hear you, Vanna. And I told you before, there's got to be some kind of feeling, right? Here's what I do know, though, is because we see the top 5 houses first, the ones that you've had on your radar, the ones that we've stepped foot inside. We always want to see the best houses first. My only concern here is that the other houses that we're going to see, should we decide to see more houses, are kind of all the backup options, right? And I can't help but wonder, you're the kind of gal that probably wants option A and not plan B. Is that right?
Yes. However, you and I did agree that when we looked at these houses, one of them was quite a bit different than the photos showed. So what if I'm missing something by not looking at one that doesn't look quite right online?
What if you're not?
Good job. True, but I don't want to miss out on the house.
Well, here's what I know, Vanna. Okay. And I've been doing this for a long time, probably too long at this point. But what I do know is that when we find a home that does give us a bit of that emotional feeling, right? We want to pay attention to that. And
Sure.
you did mention that the second house we saw today gave you some of that feeling. There will always be, anytime we're making a big decision, there will always be an opportunity for us to what if ourselves into oblivion.
You're
What if
right.
what if I didn't see the next house? What if I didn't do this? But what if you did? Because quite frankly, with the way things are happening in this wonky market, one of these 5 houses that we saw today might not be here tomorrow if you choose to wait. So is it worth it? Is it worth it right now to take a chance on houses that may or may not be the right fit for you and pass up one that we're pretty confident is?
I hadn't thought of that. That's a good point.
Oh, Vanna is tough. Vanna, how long have you been in real estate?
So I'm in my 4th year. I completed my 4th year and my 5th year. I'm actually a high D. I'm just
Oh,
acting like a client.
okay. You're an she's good. Okay, Vanna, I need to get your number. So I want to break role play though, because again, we're just to be respectful of everyone's time. Guys, it's all about facilitating decisions. And it's not my job to make sure, like to make Vanna right or wrong or tell her what to do. I'm here to just make sure she's thinking through all the different scenarios such that she can make the best decision possible. I could have taken this role play in a million different directions. And that's kind of organically where it went. But I wanted her, and just in that moment, as that was kind of unfolding, my goal was to get her to think about the things we've already seen and potentially missing an opportunity to capitalize on what we have seen, on the chance that something else might potentially one day maybe kind of be better.
Right.
Okay. And thank you for your participation today, Vanna. I really appreciate it.
Of course, that was helpful. Thank you.
That's what we're here to do, right? And this is what we do in Role Play Rumble. We want to take some of these real life scenarios that you're getting from buyers or agents or anybody who's in the market of the moment. We want to be able to navigate and talk through these things together, so we're not, to Megan's words, flipping out the first pancake to everybody else. You can mess up real bad in here, but we don't want to mess up when we're out in the real world. Right? Judgment-free zone. Okay, Emily, I'm going to pass it back to you for some final thoughts and next steps on some things, friends. Thank you, Vanna, and everyone else for your participation today. Great conversations.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, that was awesome. We're here to help people make decisions. We're not here to force people to do anything. I love that. Did you all find this helpful? Yeah, I see some shaking heads. A lot of you are not on video, so I can't see. Okay, awesome. All right. Yeah, that was awesome. Thanks, Sarah. So we're going to be back next Friday. If we want to flip to the next slide, we are launching on, go back one more, please. Thank you. We are launching on September 26th. So if you liked this, this is exactly what we do. Once a week, you get to hang out with us coaches, and we go through live role plays. You get a whole conversation playbook. How many of you have previously known as scripts everywhere, or you have too many in a specific area and you're like, which one do I use? Which one works? You get a whole digital portal where it literally breaks down. This is the best conversation for consultations. This is the best objection handler for this. This is the best objection handler for this. This is the best pre-qualification for this. We literally give you everything in your arena, whether you're a buyer, whether you focus on buyers, sellers, your database, or lead generation or conversion. So you get the whole portal with all of the conversations. You get to hang out with us. You get to hang out with each other of other growth-minded individuals like y'all on this call today, where you get to role play 3 times a week. Because how many of you, have you ever had a role play partner that just stopped showing up or just didn't show up?
Always.
Yeah. Or have you ever had a role play partner that you know that you were terrible in the role play, but they just kind of went along with you? Okay,
Yeah.
because I've been there, both of those. And so we do guided role plays. We give you a feedback forum. And we literally go through 3 times a week, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And then you get to join our awesome community Facebook group where we share questions, ideas, tips, tricks, hacks. And then we get to network with each other and send each other referrals, which is also pretty cool. So it's a subscription base. And go to the QR code, and Richard, it will give you the day and times for each program because we're all busy coaches and we all have different schedules. So the role play is always the same. It's 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because you know what we learned, y'all? Nobody likes to role play on Mondays or Fridays in real estate. So we go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And so I know on the seller side, I'm Thursday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Sarah, you're
Thursday at 2 Central.
Thursday at 2. Megan, you're
Wednesday at noon.
Wednesday at noon. And Anna is, if you'll,
Wednesday at 10.
Wednesday at 10.
It's all Central Time, right? We're all Central Time.
There we go. They're all recorded. You get the sessions recorded. It's subscription, Dawn. That's a really cool thing. It is literally month to month. So it is $99 a month. And yes, you attend every single role play. If you can be there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that's where we want you. And then you get to join us as well. So it's actually 4 times a week. You can join as much or as little. Everything is recorded outside of the role plays. We do not record you while role playing because, again, this is a safe environment. This is a safe place to grow, learn, get better. So all of the coach calls are recorded. And then the role plays are not recorded because, again, we want to respect your privacy and want everyone to feel really safe to practice together. Next Friday, Megan, if we want to go to the next slide, tell us what we're doing.
Yeah, guys, I am the database specialist. So if you are thinking like, I would love to learn how to turn my database over, how to get more appointments from my database, that is what I specialize in helping people do. And so next Friday, I'm going to be giving you the tools, systems, and scripts, conversations that I have been using with clients to increase their Pi Day or their event calls by 800%. I mean, would you like to get 40 appointments calling around an event? I'm going to show you the system, the skills and the scripts that can get you that result. I'm going to do it next Friday. It's going to be like lightning fast. So show up on time, be ready to be engaged, and we are going to blow through how you guys can turn Pi Day into payday.
I love it. And even if you don't do Pi Day, this is for any event. So any event that you do, if you do events or giveaways or anything like that, Megan's your girl. I know she's helped a ton of my coaching clients with their operations department yield exceptional results. It's been incredible to watch and so awesome. So super excited for next Friday there. So thank you, Hannah. Hannah dropped in the registration link. So sign up and it's free. You can hang out with us again next Friday. So we've got 60 seconds here. Any final thoughts, ladies?
I can't say enough how, okay, if Gary Keller's on stage anywhere, he always gives the top, like the real estate job description. Mm-hmm. Okay. And Emily, Megan, I know that you guys know what that is, but I'm curious, does anybody else on this call or who else on this call knows what Gary's definition of a real estate job description is? What are the things that we must do every single day as realtors? You can put them in the chat. There's what, 5 things? Mm-hmm. Yeah, 5 things.
Or you can come off mute.
Yeah, this is not like a test that you pass or fail. I'm just curious to see who knows it. Because spoiler alert, what we're doing is one of them. Okay. Yep, lead generate. Yes. You want to lead generate, lead follow up, go on appointments, negotiate contracts, practice and role play. If Gary says it's important, we got to do what Gary says. That's what I'll leave you with. Vanna, thank you so much for your participation. Everyone else for being here on a Friday afternoon. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you guys next week to learn more about how to turn Pi Day into payday.
Bye, everyone.